Have you ever felt disrespected, as if someone else's harsh words or dismissive actions had the power to shake your entire sense of self-worth? For many, disrespect triggers feelings of frustration, anger, and defensiveness. But what if there were a way to respond that not only protected your inner peace, but also showcased a strength that no amount of disrespect could diminish? Today, we're diving deep into the timeless wisdom of Stoicism, a philosophy centered on mastering our emotions and reactions to the world around us. By embracing 10 powerful techniques rooted in the teachings of Stoic thinkers and fortified by insights from other philosophical traditions, you can transform your approach to disrespect. Not only will these strategies fortify your mind, but they will also elevate your confidence, inner calm, and overall resilience. These techniques have been practiced by the wisest of minds, allowing them to face criticism, offense, and even direct hostility with unwavering composure. Through this journey, we'll explore practical ways to embrace calm reflection, reframe our perspective, separate ego from identity, and more. Let's explore how true strength is forged in the fires of adversity and how you, too, can embody the virtues of a resilient, unshakable soul. Now, welcome to the channel. If you're new here, make sure to like the video and hit that subscribe button. Only 15% of my audience is currently subscribed, so if these insights resonate with you, I'd love for you to join our community and turn on the notification bell to stay updated. Technique number 1. Pause and reflect before reacting. As we dive into the first technique, picture this scenario. Someone throws a sharp, cutting remark your way. Maybe it's at work, at home, or even from a stranger. The immediate response, our instinct, is often to retaliate or to defend ourselves. But what if instead you paused? What if, in that moment, you could simply breathe, creating a gap between the disrespect and your response? This technique, known as pause and reflect, is about embracing the power of a moment's hesitation. It's a concept emphasized by the Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius, who taught that every instance of provocation is also an opportunity to practice patience and self-control. Now let's talk about why intelligent, composed people apply this approach. Pausing before reacting isn't about avoiding confrontation or suppressing feelings. It's about ensuring that our response is thoughtful rather than impulsive. When we react instantly, we're often giving control to the person who disrespected us. But by pausing, we reclaim our power. We show that we're not easily rattled, and that our sense of self is not dictated by others' words or actions. Imagine you're in a meeting, and a colleague dismissively questions your abilities. Instead of snapping back or getting defensive, you take a breath, mentally stepping back. You consider their words not as an attack, but as an opportunity to calmly assert yourself, if necessary, or to let it pass without taking it personally. This pause allows you to process the situation objectively, keeping your self-worth intact. Applying this approach in daily life can begin with something as simple as counting to 10. It might sound basic, but in the heat of the moment, those few seconds can make all the difference. Another way to pause is to take a physical step back, as if you're observing the situation from the outside, watching yourself respond. Practicing this technique consistently builds a habit of thoughtful responses, even in tense situations. This technique of pause and reflect aligns deeply with Stoic thought, as well as with Eastern philosophies like Buddhism. The Buddhists teach that emotions are fleeting and don't define us, encouraging us to observe rather than become attached to them. Similarly, Stoicism promotes self-awareness and the understanding that external events, including others' opinions, should not dictate our peace of mind. By integrating this practice into your life, you're training yourself to approach disrespect from a place of calmness and composure. Each time you pause and reflect, you're making a statement to yourself and to others. I am in control of my reactions, and I choose not to let disrespect shake my sense of self. Technique number 2, reframe the situation. For the second technique, let's explore the powerful art of reframing. In the face of disrespect, it's easy to interpret words or actions as personal attacks. But what if we could view these moments differently, seeing them not as threats, but as opportunities for growth and resilience? Reframing, a core Stoic practice, is the ability to view situations through a lens that empowers rather than diminishes us. Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher, reminds us, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. By changing our perspective on disrespect, we shift the power dynamic, refusing to let someone's words or actions control our emotions. Intelligent individuals understand that not every criticism or insult deserves validation. Reframing enables them to see beyond the surface of disrespect, interpreting it as a reflection of the other person's state rather than their own. It's about building a shield of resilience, where you decide what deserves your attention and what simply doesn't matter. Let's say you're at a family gathering and a relative makes a rude comment about your career choice. Instead of internalizing their words, you might reframe the situation by considering that they're projecting their own insecurities or limitations, or you might see it as an opportunity to reaffirm your confidence and pride in your choices, knowing that they don't define you. Reframing is about choosing a narrative that uplifts you, rather than one that diminishes you. One practical exercise for reframing involves asking yourself a few guiding questions when faced with disrespect. What could this person's behavior be saying about them? Is there a possibility they're going through something that has nothing to do with me? How can I view this moment as an opportunity to grow stronger in my self-worth? Asking these questions can help you detach from the immediate sting of disrespect, letting you rise above the negativity. Another technique is to think of the situation as if you were an outsider watching it. Would you tell someone else to feel insulted, or would you advise them to see beyond the disrespect? By stepping outside of your own experience, you're often able to see things more clearly, recognizing that others' words don't have to hold power over you. Reframing connects closely with Buddhist teachings on detachment and Stoic ideas of perception. Buddhism encourages us to let go of the ego, which often reacts defensively to perceived slights. Meanwhile, Stoicism teaches that we are responsible for our interpretations of events, not the events themselves. By choosing to reframe, we're aligning with both philosophies, embracing a strength that comes from within rather than being swayed by external judgments. A technique. 3. Separate ego from identity. Moving on to the third technique, we encounter one of the most profound lessons of Stoicism, the ability to separate ego from identity. In the face of disrespect, it's often the ego that feels bruised, that part of us which craves validation and resists criticism. But if we can learn to detach our sense of self from the ego's need for approval, we build an identity that isn't easily shaken. The Stoics taught that a person's worth is not defined by others' opinions, but by their own virtues, values, and character. By separating ego from identity, we cultivate an inner citadel, a core sense of self that remains unaffected by external judgments. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, often reminded himself that his identity was rooted in his principles, not in others' approval or disapproval. This technique is especially valuable because it frees us from the roller coaster of others' opinions. Imagine a situation where someone insults your intelligence or belittles your achievements. If your identity is rooted in your ego, you might react defensively, feeling the need to prove your worth. But if your sense of self is anchored in your core values, you recognize that this insult doesn't define you, It's merely a fleeting opinion. People who separate their ego from their identity understand that true strength comes from within. They're not swayed by praise or criticism because their self-worth isn't dependent on others' perceptions. This approach allows them to stay grounded and resilient, even in the face of severe disrespect. By embracing this practice, they cultivate an unshakable sense of self that remains steady regardless of external opinions. Practically speaking, one way to separate ego from identity is through self-reflection exercises. Take some time to journal about your core values, the aspects of your character that define who you are beyond surface achievements or others' approval. This exercise helps you see that your worth is rooted in qualities that are unchangeable, regardless of how people view you. Another method is to use daily affirmations that remind you of your self-worth, such as, "My value is not determined by others' opinions," or "I am defined by my integrity and actions, not by external validation." These affirmations reinforce your connection to your true self, making it easier to brush off disrespectful remarks. Separating ego from identity aligns with Stoic and Confucian philosophies. Stoicism teaches that we are responsible for nurturing our character, independent of others' judgments. Confucianism similarly emphasizes inner integrity, valuing self-respect over outward reputation. By focusing on your inner values, you cultivate an identity that cannot be shaken by superficial disrespect. When you embrace this technique, you're choosing to live a life defined by internal strength, not by the fleeting opinions of others. In doing so, you become resilient to disrespect, holding firm to the understanding that your worth is something only you can define. Boti. Technique number 4. Practice compassionate curiosity. Imagine someone speaks to you harshly, perhaps even with disdain. Instead of responding with anger or defensiveness, what if you paused and considered their words with a sense of compassionate curiosity? The idea of compassionate curiosity allows us to approach disrespectful people with empathy rather than hostility. This doesn't mean accepting their behavior or excusing it. Rather, it's a mindset shift, acknowledging that others may act out due to their own struggles, insecurities, or unresolved pain. This approach stems from the Stoic belief in universal empathy and a core understanding that people often project their pain onto others. When intelligent, reflective individuals face disrespect, they understand that everyone's behavior stems from something deeper. Instead of taking insults personally, they view them as possible reflections of the other person's difficulties. This perspective allows them to maintain composure and even kindness, no matter the disrespect they face. Imagine encountering a rude colleague who regularly dismisses your ideas. You might initially feel offended or want to retaliate. But compassionate curiosity would lead you to wonder, is this person struggling with their own work, feeling insecure, or perhaps dealing with personal issues that make them act out? By shifting your perspective, you transform a hostile interaction into a moment of understanding. To apply compassionate curiosity, start by asking yourself questions about the other person's potential struggles. Is there something they may be going through that isn't visible to you? What might they be experiencing emotionally that causes them to act out in this way? These questions aren't about excusing disrespect, but understanding it from a new perspective. Another method is to respond with open-ended, calm questions. For example, if someone criticizes you harshly, respond by saying, "Is there something going on that's affecting you?" Or, "I noticed you seemed upset. Would you like to talk about it?" This can diffuse the situation while also showing that you're not personally threatened by their behavior. Stoicism emphasizes empathy and recognizing that each person's actions are influenced by their inner world. Similarly, Buddhism teaches that everyone's behavior stems from their own struggles, and that by showing compassion, we often diffuse hostility. By approaching disrespect with compassionate curiosity, you elevate the situation and reinforce a calm resilience that keeps your inner peace intact. Technique number 5. Use humor and detachment. Sometimes the best way to disarm disrespect is through a touch of humor and detachment. Humor has a unique power to diffuse tension and turn an insult into something harmless. When you respond with humor, you're showing the world and yourself that disrespect has no power over you. It can be a playful, effective way to brush off negativity. Intelligent, resilient people know that humor is a great defense against negativity. Instead of absorbing hurtful words, they use humor to maintain perspective. Humor isn't about being sarcastic or retaliating with jokes that hurt others. Rather, it's a way to let go of heavy emotions and show that words alone can't harm us. Consider a scenario where someone insults your work in front of a group. Instead of feeling embarrassed or angry, you might respond with, "Guess I've finally made it, if people are this interested in my work." By humorously acknowledging the insult, you diffuse the tension and show that their opinion doesn't affect your sense of self-worth. One approach is to find a light-hearted response that doesn't escalate the situation. For example, if someone criticizes you for a mistake, you might respond, "That's why they keep me around, just to keep things interesting." This isn't about dismissing the feedback, but rather showing that you're not easily shaken. Another technique is to detach from the moment mentally. Imagine the scenario as a scene from a comedy, or as if you're watching it on screen, rather than experiencing it personally. This mental detachment allows you to see the humor in the absurdity of disrespectful interactions. Marcus Aurelius often advised looking at situations with humor and perspective, seeing life's irritations as mere ripples on a pond. The Cynics, another ancient school of thought, practiced extreme detachment, seeing disrespect as irrelevant to their well-being. This blend of humor and detachment not only diffuses conflict, but also builds resilience, showing that you're not bound by the opinions of others. Now, some exciting news. Our channel now offers a 24/7 live stream, streaming Stoic wisdom and insights around the clock. Plus, by joining our members club, you'll unlock exclusive benefits, deeper content dives, and personal insights. Join us on this journey, and let's build a meaningful life together. And I also humbly ask you to leave a comment, as it helps my channel immensely. If you do not know what to comment, just write "better every day" so I know you reached this far. And don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. Also, I've linked some books on Stoicism that helped me become the man I am today, and will also help you achieve a Stoic mindset. Maikan. Technique number 6. Set boundaries firmly. When facing consistent disrespect, setting firm boundaries is essential. While compassionate curiosity and humor have their place, there are times when it's necessary to draw a line. Boundaries are expressions of self-respect, showing others that certain behaviors will not be tolerated. Setting boundaries isn't about confrontation, it's about creating an environment where mutual respect can thrive. Intelligent individuals recognize that without boundaries, disrespect can escalate. By establishing limits, they send a clear message that they value their peace and won't allow others to disrupt it. Boundaries communicate strength, making it clear that you expect respectful interactions. Imagine a situation where a friend frequently interrupts you or speaks to you in a dismissive way. If left unaddressed, this behavior could impact your relationship. By setting a boundary, such as calmly stating, "I feel unheard when I'm interrupted, and I'd appreciate it if we could listen to each other fully," you reinforce respect without escalating the situation. Setting boundaries starts with clear communication. Use I statements to express how certain behaviors affect you. For instance, if a colleague makes rude remarks, you could say, "I work best in a positive environment, and I feel less motivated when there's negativity." This approach is respectful but assertive, showing that you expect a change in behavior. Another boundary-setting technique is the broken record approach. If someone repeatedly disrespects your boundary, calmly and consistently restate your position without escalating. This shows that you're unwavering and serious about maintaining your limits. Stoicism teaches the importance of inner peace and self-respect, which boundaries help protect. Confucianism also emphasizes respect and appropriate conduct, encouraging individuals to uphold dignity in all interactions. By setting boundaries, you reinforce these values, showing that you won't compromise your well-being for the sake of tolerating disrespect. Technique number 7. Practice indifference to insults. The 7th technique is one of the cornerstones of Stoic thought, practicing indifference to insults. The Stoics teach that our peace of mind shouldn't be disrupted by things beyond our control, including others' opinions or judgments. Insults, no matter how harsh, are ultimately powerless unless we grant them meaning. By practicing indifference, you're choosing not to give disrespect any weight. Those who cultivate emotional intelligence understand that engaging with insults often gives the insulter more power. When you practice indifference, you're signaling that others' judgments are not relevant to your self-worth. This approach requires mental discipline, but it liberates you from the emotional highs and lows of others' opinions. Consider a scenario where someone criticizes your appearance or lifestyle. By practicing indifference, you acknowledge the comment but recognize that it has no bearing on your intrinsic value. Instead of reacting defensively or feeling hurt, you might even respond with a neutral, "I appreciate your perspective," before moving on. Practicing indifference starts with recognizing what's within your control. You can't control others' words, but you can control your reaction. Begin by mentally reminding yourself, "This comment doesn't define me." With practice, you'll find that insults lose their sting. Another approach is to visualize the comment as a passing cloud in the sky. It's there briefly, but it moves on without affecting the vastness of your inner self. This visualization reinforces that others' opinions are fleeting and that your peace of mind remains grounded in something far more substantial. The concept of apatheia, or freedom from passion, is central to Stoic thought. By cultivating apatheia, you're training yourself to rise above emotional reactions to others' opinions. Taoism similarly emphasizes acceptance, encouraging individuals to let go of attachments to external judgments. Practicing indifference to insults is about embracing inner stability, ensuring that others' words don't dictate your emotional state. Technique. Chapter 8. Reflect on the bigger picture. When dealing with disrespect, it's easy to become consumed by the moment, letting anger or frustration take over. But what if we step back and take a broader view? Reflecting on the bigger picture shifts our focus from momentary offenses to long-term goals and values, reminding us of what truly matters. In life, disrespect is often a fleeting irritation, like a stone thrown into a river. While it creates a ripple, the river itself is vast, flowing on unaffected. The bigger picture approach encourages us to see disrespect as a minor moment within a much larger journey, allowing us to release grudges and focus on our deeper values and goals. Wise individuals understand that dwelling on disrespectful encounters can drain time and energy better spent on personal growth. By focusing on what truly matters, they keep their energy directed toward positive pursuits, refusing to let minor incidents derail their path. For instance, consider a disagreement at work where a colleague questions your abilities publicly. Instead of allowing this one moment to influence your self-esteem or ruin your day, try to step back and ask, does this really impact my long-term goals? By keeping the broader perspective, you reinforce your resilience and can use your energy more productively. In practice, this technique starts with mindfulness. When confronted with disrespect, take a few moments to step back mentally and ask, will this matter a week from now, a month, a year? This exercise provides immediate relief by helping you see the event as temporary. Another strategy is to keep a journal of your long-term goals and values. By regularly reviewing what truly matters to you, you reinforce your commitment to those priorities over daily irritations. This habit builds a big-picture mindset, allowing you to handle disrespect with greater ease and clarity. The Stoics often emphasize the cosmic perspective, reminding themselves of their place in the universe. Marcus Aurelius advised contemplating how insignificant each person's life is within the grand scheme. Buddhism similarly encourages focusing on impermanence, viewing life's challenges as brief moments that pass with time. By focusing on the bigger picture, you harness resilience against life's irritations, recognizing that even the most unpleasant encounters are fleeting in the face of eternity. Technique. Number 9. Take constructive criticism, disregard the rest. Not all criticism is created equal. While some comments can be helpful, others are simply disrespectful. Learning to discern between constructive feedback and meaningless jabs is a vital skill. This technique involves filtering out valuable insights for growth while discarding harmful, unhelpful remarks. The wisdom here lies in recognizing that criticism, especially harsh or rude criticism, may sometimes hold a kernel of truth that can benefit us. However, we need to separate these insights from the disrespectful tone or intent, maintaining our focus on self-improvement without being weighed down by negativity. Intelligent individuals are open to growth and willing to improve themselves, but they don't allow negative or unhelpful comments to shake their self-worth. By applying this filter, they take what they need from criticism and leave the rest behind, ensuring that they continue to grow without sacrificing their self-respect. Imagine a manager who criticizes your presentation style in a dismissive way, implying you're not good at public speaking. While the criticism feels hurtful, there could be a nugget of truth about areas for improvement. Instead of internalizing the disrespect, focus on the constructive part of the feedback, deciding if there's any aspect of your presentation that could be enhanced. This approach allows you to learn without letting others' negativity shape your self-image. Start by pausing when you receive criticism, especially if it feels harsh. Try to separate the message from the delivery, identifying any helpful feedback that can support your personal or professional growth. Mentally acknowledge any part of the comment that isn't constructive and make the conscious choice to disregard it. Another technique is to seek a second opinion. If you're unsure whether feedback is constructive or just rude, ask a trusted friend or colleague for their perspective. They can provide clarity, helping you decide what's worth focusing on and what should be discarded. The Stoics believed in openness to growth and improvement. Epictetus encouraged welcoming feedback as a way to see oneself more clearly, yet he also taught that we shouldn't let others' judgments define us. Confucianism values self-cultivation, urging us to listen to others' wisdom, but to dismiss irrelevant negativity. By applying this filter to criticism, we strengthen our capacity for growth while shielding our self-worth from harmful opinions. Technique number 10. Choose silence and walk away when necessary. Sometimes the wisest response to disrespect is silence. There's a certain power in choosing not to engage, especially when someone's intent is to provoke or belittle. Walking away, in this context, isn't a sign of weakness, but a display of self-control and inner strength. When we choose silence, we're refusing to give others control over our emotions. By not engaging, we avoid escalating conflict and remain centered, reinforcing our resilience. This technique is grounded in the understanding that silence, in many cases, speaks louder than words. Intelligent individuals recognize that some battles aren't worth fighting. They understand that engaging with a disrespectful person often serves to empower the other's negativity. By choosing silence, they demonstrate their own maturity, showing that they won't be dragged down by pettiness or provocation. Imagine a situation where a family member tries to start an argument over a sensitive topic. Instead of getting drawn into a heated debate, silence allows you to maintain your peace, showing that you're not willing to waste energy on a pointless conflict. Walking away may feel difficult initially, but it preserves your well-being. One approach is to develop a few phrases that signal you're choosing not to engage. Phrases like, "I don't wish to continue this conversation," or "Let's agree to disagree," allow you to maintain dignity while asserting your boundaries. Alternatively, a simple nod or smile can convey that you're unaffected, allowing you to exit the conversation without escalating tension. Another method is to practice mindful breathing during tense moments. Focus on your breath, allowing it to ground you. This simple practice reinforces your ability to stay calm and prevents you from reacting emotionally. The Stoics viewed silence as a form of wisdom. They taught that often silence is the best answer to trivial provocations. Buddhism also values non-attachment and silence, especially when it comes to meaningless disputes. By embracing silence, you're exercising restraint, refusing to let others dictate your reactions. This approach cultivates a deeper resilience, proving that you are in control of your own peace. In our journey through these 10 techniques, we've explored the power of Stoic resilience and practical ways to handle disrespect. From the wisdom of pausing before reacting, reframing negative situations, and setting boundaries, each technique provides a unique way to transform difficult encounters into moments of personal growth. By practicing these techniques regularly, you're not only protecting your peace, but building a strength that runs deeper than any insult or criticism. Stoicism teaches us that our true power lies in mastering ourselves, and with these approaches, you're well equipped to handle life's challenges with poise and integrity. Whether it's responding with compassionate curiosity, using humor, focusing on the bigger picture, or simply walking away, each technique brings you closer to inner peace and personal strength. Remember, how you respond to disrespect defines not only the situation, but also reinforces your own values and sense of self. Thank you for joining me on this journey of exploration and reflection. I hope that the insights shared here have brought you clarity and encouragement, and that you find the courage to let go of what no longer serves you. May your path be filled with wisdom, resilience, and the quiet strength that Stoic philosophy inspires. If you found this journey helpful, please consider sharing your thoughts in the comments below, and don't hesitate to reach out to others who may benefit from these teachings. And remember, the journey of self-discovery is a lifelong pursuit, one that is as rewarding as it is challenging.